Hey, welcome to Board with Life News for October 28th. Today I'm going to talk about an expansion for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, an expansion for Sheriff of Nottingham, a series of Doctor Who games, and the Kickstarter for Cannibal Farox. Let's get to it. Hey, I'm Chris. Welcome to Board with Life News. As far as Board with Life News goes, I promise we're just around the corner from announcing our release date for Season 2, so make sure you stay tuned to the news, maybe, I don't know, next week's news. If you're interested in hearing about that, we're very excited about it. It's been a very long journey to get here. Thanks for y'all's continued support the whole way. We're very excited that we're about to announce that. Also, our Dungeons & Dragons podcast that a lot of you listen to, we're doing a special Halloween series that is on Ravenloft, the very, very popular dungeon from early Dungeons & Dragons days. We are doing a playthrough of it, and we have featured guest Isaac Vega from Flat Hat Games. He's designer of all sorts of their good stuff, Ashes and Dead of Winter, and all that good stuff. So you get to hear us play it. If you go down in the links below, you can listen to it. Last week we did our first episode. Tomorrow we're going to release our second episode. So it's a good jumping in point if you haven't already started that. All right, on to board game news. AEG announced an expansion for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's not one game. That's the game's Planes, the game Trains, and the game Automobiles. It's going to be one expansion that will have expansions to all three of them. So kind of a little thing where if you have multiple of their games, then you can expand all of them. It's obviously kind of a joke to the John Candy movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles that is so popular and great. It's kind of an interesting idea to release this. I could see if you only owned or only liked one of those games, it'd be a little bit frustrating that you're paying for expansions that you don't want or don't have games for. It's smart if somebody owns two of them that maybe now that they have an expansion, they'll be interested in buying the third. So it's funny, and it's kind of a joke when they signed Trains, and then when Planes came out, everybody was like, oh, when are you getting Automobiles? And clearly they are getting Automobiles, so it's funny that they're continuing that, and kind of an interesting strategy to release all three expansions in one package. Speaking of expansions, Arcane Wonders has announced that they are going to be releasing an expansion for Sheriff of Nottingham, which is exciting. We love Sheriff of Nottingham at Board with Life. It's one of our favorite games in the past couple years. Tom Vassell is another big fan of Sheriff of Nottingham, in case you didn't know. And the expansion will actually be designed by Tom Vassell, Stephen Avery, and Z Garcia. Steve Avery and Tom Vassell designed, what is that game? Nothing Personal together. And now they're adding in Z Garcia. Honestly, it seems like overkill for an expansion for a pretty simple game to have three different designers on it, but I know that they're huge fans of the game, so I'm excited to see what they're going to come up with. That game was ripe for expansions, so very excited about that. Gale Force 9 announced that they got the license to release a series of Doctor Who games. Gale Force 9 has a really good track record with licensed games. They generally do a pretty good job and make good games out of them. The first game is going to be Doctor Who, Time of the Daleks. There isn't any information about gameplay, how the game will actually play. They said it'll come out the first half of 2016. One of the interesting things about this is that in the description they say each player picks a doctor, so I'm assuming that you will be able to pick from a whole slew of all the different doctors to play as, so I'm sure that's very exciting to lots of Doctor Who fans. Time travel games lately have been all the rage. There have been tons of them being released and that are about to get released. Time Stories just came out at Essen. I had a chance to play it. It's really good. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of a time travel game these kind of are. I could see them going either way, where there are lots of kind of like looping, playing the same scenario over and over time travel, or just kind of like Doctor Who, different kind of Monster of the Week style adventures that they go on. So it'll be interesting. They said it's a series of games, so there'll be more than one. Don't know how many, though. The Kickstarter for this week is a very Halloween-y Cannibal Farox. This is a card and dice game where you play either a film crew that's kind of invading some native people's lands, or you play the native people there who do not want the film crew to be invading their lands. It's a clear send-up to Cannibal Holocaust, the new like Green Inferno, and also Cannibal Farox, the movie, of the kind of, stupid white people that invade and get in over their heads in a land of native people who also happen to sometimes maybe be cannibals. So it's definitely a very adult theme and definitely not for everyone, but if you're into horror movies like Cannibal Holocaust and things like that, it seems pretty exciting for you. It's $30 right now on Kickstarter, so go back that if that sounds up your alley. All right, that's the news for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure that you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and as I said, do all those things because we have big news coming in the next week or so. Also, check out the podcast. It's a great time to jump in because we are taking a brief reprise from our normal Dungeons & Dragons campaign to do Ravenloft. All right, this week's question comes from @WG Tabletop via Twitter, and they ask, what's your favorite Halloween game? Donald and I actually did a video of our favorite Halloween games, or favorite games to play on Halloween, like 2 years ago, and I'll put the link up here. All of those suggestions hold true. I think we had Betrayal at House on the Hill, which is just a good, silly, fun time. City of Horror, which is a really good zombie game. And let me remember, the last one is Werewolf. I would probably now switch out Werewolf for One Night Ultimate Werewolf, just because it's a little bit faster and doesn't have player elimination, but keeps a lot of the same feeling. And I would probably switch out City of Horror for Dead of Winter, because I think they're both really good zombie games. I think they both replicate kind of the horror that goes on during a zombie apocalypse more than kind of the headshots that go on during a zombie apocalypse. I stand by all of those. All 5 of those games are still really good, and I would recommend any of them. Fearsome Floors, if you've got kids, it's a fun, kind of silly Scooby-Doo style Halloween game. There are a ton of really good horror-themed games, or games that take place in sort of a horror universe to play on Halloween, but those would probably be my best bets. Yeah. Alright, thanks so much for tuning in this week, and I'll see you next week.